And despite initial success, sometimes a babyface's persona can become stale and they're left with no choice but to turn heel. This heel turn usually gives their character a new lease of life, and the wrestler will then embark on the best run of their entire career. But which wrestlers were they? Well, join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 wrestler heel turns that saved a career. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our non-wrestling channel Incredible. Number 10. Batista. By the time Batista made his return from injury in 2009, his babyface character was insanely stale. Batista had been a babyface since 2005 and something needed to change. His popularity was dwindling, and if something wasn't done, his star power would have seriously diminished. WWE made the right call to turn Batista heel, and they were going to do this at the Bragging Rights pay-per-view in 2009. Batista would turn on his close friend Rey Mysterio, and this heel turn injected new energy into the former WWE champion. Batista's character work was exceptional, and although his heel run would just last 8 months, it was truly some of the best work of his entire career. Batista seemingly overnight became fantastic on the mic, and his mannerisms and body language took the new villainous persona to a whole new level. Number 9. Neville. And Neville always had a reputation for being one of the best in-ring talents in the industry, but there was always something missing. Neville was never going to receive a substantial push in WWE because he lacked character and fans struggled to take him seriously as a threat. This all changed when WWE made the decision to turn him heel at the end of 2016. His character would turn a complete 180 and he would enter into the cruiserweight division. This character change was phenomenal, and it gave Neville that edge that had been missing. Neville had a great presence on screen as a heel, and fans were so impressed with the new character that they wanted him to push him into the main event scene. Although he would leave the WWE in 2017, he would eventually sign with AEW, where he kept the majority of the character traits that he initially debuted during his WWE heel turn. Number 8. Daniel Bryan. A former WWE champion, Daniel Bryan is widely regarded as being one of the most popular stars to ever step foot in a WWE ring. However, in 2018, it was clear that the Yes Movement character had become stale and Bryan needed to try something new. Whilst the fans hadn't officially turned on Bryan, the reactions were getting weaker and weaker, and it was apparent that if Bryan wanted to maintain his main event position, he was going to have to evolve. Bryan would turn heel during a WWE title match with AJ Styles on SmackDown, and Bryan would cheat to win the title in a move that nobody saw coming. Bryan would then debut a brand new heel character to go along with his title reign, and he would preach about the environment, and he would belittle fans for their part in destroying the earth. This was a bold character, but it was genius, and it could be argued that this was the finest work of Bryan's entire career. Bryan would also take part in a memorable storyline with Kofi Kingston, which saw Bryan help Kofi reach to the top of the WWE. Number 7. Edge. During Edge's early days in WWE, he was always a solid mid-carder, but he lacked something that made fans question if he was a true main event talent. In 2004, Edge's babyface character was incredibly dull, and fans were rather bored of the generic happy-go-lucky babyface that really didn't fit in with the ruthless aggression era. A heel turn would come when Edge became obsessed with winning the world title, and when fans didn't choose him to face world champion Triple H at Taboo Tuesday, he officially snapped.
I thought he left the building! Oh my God! Edge is spears Shawn Michaels!
Edge entered into a feud with the legendary Shawn Michaels, and this propelled him to the next level. His heel turn had logic, and there was genuine motivation behind his shift in motives. Thankfully, this is where Edge began to come into his own in WWE, and over the next few months, he would transition into an outstanding heel character, and it wouldn't be too long before Edge would win his first ever WWE title. Number 6. Hulk Hogan. In 1996, wrestling fans were growing tired of family-friendly, cartoonish wrestling, and they cried out for something more. WCW were ahead of the game in realizing this, and they decided to turn the beloved Hulk Hogan heel. Hogan's character had become rather dated, and as the wrestling world entered a new era, the red and yellow had to go. Hogan would turn heel at the Bash at the Beach pay-per-view in 96, and he would form the NWO alongside Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. This heel turn took WCW to new heights, and it gave Hogan arguably the most entertaining run of his entire career. It without a doubt kept Hogan's popularity alive through the 90s, and if this heel turn didn't happen, it would have been rather interesting to see what would have happened to Hogan's once illustrious star power. Number 5. Bradshaw. Following WrestleMania 20, WWE were low on star power. Brock Lesnar and Goldberg had just exited the company, and they needed to make new stars rather quickly. WWE came up with the idea of turning APA member Bradshaw into a main eventer. He was going to transition into John Bradshaw Layfield, and he would debut a brand new heel character. Now, there was a ton of skepticism surrounding this at the time, as fans questioned if Bradshaw could pull it off. But thanks to strong booking and unbelievable commitment to the character, it couldn't have worked any better. He entered into a feud with Eddie Guerrero for the title, and the character work from both men was on point, and it made fans take JBL seriously as a legitimate main event attraction. Number 4. Chris Jericho. When Chris Jericho returned to the WWE in 2007, something fell off. Jericho's character wasn't hitting the mark, and it was obvious to fans as well as Jericho himself that a character change was needed. Jericho would turn heel and enter into a feud with Shawn Michaels, but along with his heel turn came a brand new version of Jericho. He began to wear suits, and he would cut long-winded promos where he belittled the fans and stated that he believed that he was the best in the world. Jericho's heel character was so good that he actually had people attacking him on the street because he was able to get under people's skin. The heel character was acclaimed by fans and is often regarded as the most compelling work of his entire career. Number 3. Bayley. Bayley's hugger character was beloved by fans in NXT, but when she debuted on the main roster with the character, it grew tiresome very quickly. Therefore, in 2019, she decided to pitch a heel turn. Bayley knew that a heel turn was needed, as she couldn't do the same character forever. Bayley would destroy the Bayley buddies and would even cut her ponytail off, showing fans that the old Bayley was officially dead. As part of this new heel persona, she would join forces with Sasha Banks, and the heel work from both women was top tier. Bayley would explain the heel turn during an interview with Fox 5 Atlanta and the reason behind the heel turn. She stated, "Nothing's changed. I know a lot of people are asking about my actions lately, but do you have a best friend? And would you do anything for your best friend? That's what I've been doing. Sasha Banks is literally my best friend, the best person I've ever met in my whole life, and I would do anything for her. And if anybody has a problem with her, I just have to be there for her and be by her side. And that's all I'm doing. I'm a champion. Kids look up to me. I'm a role model." And Bayley and Banks' work together pretty much carried WWE throughout the pandemic, which was certainly a tough task when the WWE superstars were performing in front of 0 fans on a weekly basis. During this heel run, Bayley seemingly put it all together in the ring. She became a locker room leader and a ring general, and there are calls from fans for Bayley to keep the heel character indefinitely. Number 2. The Rock. Initially, The Rock was pushed as a generic babyface, but this was met with universal hatred from the audience, so much so that The Rock actually received Die Rocky Die chants directed towards him. But this all changed when The Rock turned heel and joined the Nation of Domination. This allowed The Rock to let out his natural charisma and actually deliver compelling character work. This took The Rock to the next level, and fans began to rally behind this. WWE quickly realized they had an absolute megastar on their hands, and by the summer of 1999, The Rock's popularity had skyrocketed, so much so that The Rock was on the level of Stone Cold Steve Austin in terms of crowd reactions. It was a great call from WWE to align The Rock with the Nation way back in '97, and if this never happened, it's a distinct possibility that WWE would have never discovered just how great of a talent they had. And number 1, Roman Reigns. WWE's decision to make Roman Reigns the face of the entire company was met with disdain from fans. Reigns would receive less than warm reactions from the audience for years, and the main reason for this was that the character felt forced and unnatural. However, in 2020, WWE did the unthinkable. They would turn Reigns heel. Returning at SummerSlam, Reigns would debut a brand new villainous persona that took no prisoners. Reigns would align with Paul Heyman, and the character work on offer was the best work of his career. Reigns would also have an association with the Usos, and the trio would form the Bloodline. Reigns would also embark on the longest Universal title reign in company history, and his heel run was so appreciated by fans that it simply made them ask one simple question: why did WWE wait so long to turn Reigns heel? But there you have it folks, 10 WWE Wrestler heel turns that saved a career. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.